This is a special presentation from the Brighton Central School District.
Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming to Brighton for this exciting day. I'm Larry Davis, Brighton Board of Education President. Also here from our Board of Education is Christina Lee, Board Vice President over here. Raise your hand, Christina. And Esther Winter. Raise your hand, Esther. Thank you. Our other board members, Julian Gilbert, Karen Hatch, Susan Gasparino, and Eleanor Oyer, are unable to attend and send their regards. Julian Gilbert's actually in bed. Everybody's coming out all these different doors. We welcome today's special guest from the New York State Council of School Superintendents, which will now be called NYSCUS going forward. We use a lot of acronyms in the education, okay? So NYSCUS. First, Bren Banks, Associate Director of NYSCUS and Director of LEAF, Leadership Educational Achievement Foundation. Bren? And thank you. Jazz Convoy, General Counsel for NYSCUS. Jazz, thank you. Chuck Diedrich, Dr. Charles S. Diedrich, Executive Director for NYSCUS. And Teresa Witzer-Moore, Associate Director for NYSCUS. Thank you. So why is this day exciting? We are extraordinarily proud that Brighton Central School District Superintendent Dr. Kevin McGowan has been selected by NYSCUS as the New York State Superintendent of the Year. Dr. McGowan has been our superintendent since 2009. He began his career as an elementary teacher in the Starpoint Central School District before becoming a high school assistant principal at Iroquois High School, and then an elementary principal at Wales Primary School. Prior to Brighton, Kevin was the superintendent of the Warsaw Central School District in Wyoming County. Dr. McGowan exemplifies the standards for this award. With over a decade of experience serving the kids in our community, Kevin is a role model as a school leader, active community member, and proud father and husband. We as a school board are proud to work with Dr. McGowan and his team as we collectively strive to have Brighton schools be better each day. Dr. McGowan has consistently put our students first and demonstrated a collaborative philosophy that involves students, their families, staff, and the community. Kevin is a role model in terms of his integrity, selflessness, and work ethic. Students are at the core of everything that Dr. McGowan does. He focuses each day on how Brighton schools can improve, working with the students, their families, and staff to set and maintain high standards. We are proud to be a school district under his leadership that is unafraid to challenge the status quo and hear all voices. Most importantly, Kevin proudly holds the title of husband, dad, and second in command in his Brighton home. Among his 3 children are 2 sons. Charlie, a high school senior, who constantly reminds him of the need for more snow days, additional free periods, and better school food. Peter, a college student who bemoans the same concerns from his K-12 days. And Emma, a 5th grader who seems to enjoy her dad being in her classroom slightly more than her brother does and is generally more appreciative of his performance. His children, an exceptionally supportive wife, Betsy, an educator herself, and the very definition of a better half, help him keep perspective and focus on our most important priorities, the needs of each and every child and all of their families. I'm now going to turn this over to one of our special guests, New York NYSCUS Executive Director, Dr. Charles Diedrich. Chuck? You're welcome.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for inviting me and the NYSCUS staff to join you here this afternoon. The New York State Council of School Superintendents does this award yearly to honor the vision and dedication that the men and women who lead our state's public schools have and what they do for our students. Candidates are selected through, it's really a very comprehensive application process, and it takes into account communication, professionalism, community involvement, and it's not selected by the staff. It's selected, the winner is selected by a group of superintendents called our Distinguished Service Committee. The The actual award presentation will be at our March 2023 conference. But more importantly, we announce it now so that the New York State representative can take part in the National Superintendent of the Year competition, which will be held this fall, and the winner will be announced in February at the National AASA Conference. I need to say this about Kevin. Mike Glover, our good friend Mike Glover, right there. Dr. Glover, good to see you. He said to me when we were in the back of the room, he said, it's about time that Kevin got this award. Yeah. And my answer to that was, I agree, but blame Kevin for not getting this award up till now. Because every time one of us would approach Kevin and say, Kevin, you really need to put your application in for this award, Kevin would always say, no, not yet. Someone else, and he would name somebody or name a few people who he felt deserved it more than him. This went on for year after year after year. Finally, we changed the process back a couple of years ago where nominations could come in from outside of just the individuals. And Kevin's application came through, and it is with great pleasure that on behalf of all of the superintendents of New York State, that we are announcing that Dr. Kevin C. McGowan, Superintendent of the Brighton Central School District, is our 2023 School Superintendent of the Year. Kevin.
Chuck asked me if I was going to say something. He's met me before. Good news, you can stop writing letters, Mom. They got your memo? I appreciate it. And I appreciate your kind words, Chuck and Larry. You're exceptionally generous in so many ways. I was very proud to have been nominated by a colleague and to then complete the paperwork because it really speaks to the work happening here in the district, which was what was most important, and that's really what they're asking for is, so what has happened in your district? So I'm incredibly grateful, humbled, proud. It's an awkward circumstance. I said to Teresa from the council that I've stood next to her any number of times before speaking to our group, 400 or 500 people, and never felt as uncomfortable as this feels because the work has to do with so many people in our district. I've also never quite understood why people get so choked up at moments like this, and now I am completely understanding it. But I'm so just proud to call all of you colleagues and friends and family, and I'll probably name some names and hopefully not leave anybody out, but I want you to know, even if I do, how much you all mean to me. So first from Niskus and our colleagues who joined us, Ron and Teresa, Jazz and Chuck, thank you for making the trip and making this a special moment for all of us. We really appreciate that. And appreciate your collegiality and the ways that we've been able to work together on issues both here and across the state. I so value our relationships and the impact that Niskus has made on my life and does for my colleague superintendents who are in the room. And to my colleagues, thank you for coming and taking the time out of a really busy day, I know, to come celebrate with us too. I depend on you. You push me to think differently, work differently, and do better things for our kids, and I'm inspired by you. So thank you for taking the time to do that. To our board, past and present, this work could not happen without you. I know my Niskus colleagues and superintendent colleagues in the room. Mike would jump up and down. I saw a great example in Mike and so many. I'll get to that in a second. But of that board relationship, it doesn't happen without you. So Larry, your kind words I appreciate, but I appreciate even more our relationship, the work we've done together. Julene, when she was vice president, Christina, Mark, longtime president, who have become so close and friends with us. Esther, I know Sue, who could not be here. Marv Sachs, who was the president before Mark as well, is here, and his better half too, Sora. And I definitely now started to leave somebody out, but I hope I didn't. That relationship is so key to our work, and I appreciate that. Our leadership team, many of whom are here today, the work does not happen without you. You each and every day are making things work. I've said several times that it's everybody else that's doing the work. You're the greatest example of that. In the way you lead children, your staff depends on you, the community depends on you. You're an incredible group of human beings that, frankly, are the ones who make it happen. And so thank you for that. I couldn't be on a better team. As a Yankees fan, I say often I play for the Yankees, and that's pretty special. And given the performance of those people, I bat way down in the order relative to them. So thank you. Cabinet members who are here today and from the past, I know Debbie couldn't be here, but I think Carolyn Radley is here. Thank you, Carolyn. Lou, Allison, Deanna. I don't know what I would ever do without you, and I appreciate so much our relationship and the ways we work together. So again, in terms of a group of people that make it happen, you do. And I value that so much. Our staff, many of whom are represented here today in different ways, both by their leadership and others who could make it, you're making it happen. You're the ones that are deciding each and every day to make a difference for each child and to think about how to overcome the barrier for each child. It sneaks right up on me. But thank you for you're the ones that make it happen. So thank you, and thank you for being here today too. Central office staff, many of you are here today. It's such a great team in this building, and you're the unsung heroes that do so much for so many so that they can do that work for kids. So thank you for that and for accommodating this, but for being that friendly and wonderful face each and every day. Many friends are here today too, and other community partners as I look around, people like Dr. Mendoza that helped us get through such an incredible time. Dan White, our DS, Bill Malley from the town, of course, is here. I know there's representatives from Congressman Morelli's office and Senator Cooney's office as well, and I think Assemblymember Clark's office. And that partnership and that work together is key to us. Thank you for that. And people like, now as I'm looking around the room, Meredith Dragon from the Jewish Federation of Rochester, friends and partners, but more importantly, friends that are making a big difference for our community and our kids. I'd also say people who have influenced my life, and primary among them, Mike Glover I mentioned, and Chuck pointed out, for those superintendent colleagues in the room who last saw Mike in different attire, or maybe last saw him in a suit, just the suit alone blew me away today. He's been retired for a little bit now, and the best of the best. He was telling a story to my parents about a relationship and a situation with kids that happened many years ago, and a colleague of ours that worked through a situation, and we did the exact same thing this morning with a young person, and I thought, always wanted to be like him. And that work is happening, so thank you for that. My in-laws, thank you for of how the person that really makes it happen in our family, and I appreciate that, of course, and all your support. To my parents, who I can't say enough of the example. Where's that water? The example that you've been for me. My mom is an educator. My dad is an educator to me and my brother at home. Thank you for being there and all the support to get us to this place. And the crying will stop in just a moment because you make me a better person, a better educator. Thank you for that. Because kids, nobody died. You don't have to cry. My kids, Charlie and Emma, make me better at what I do, and Peter, who's studying abroad and on a plane somewhere, living the life of a young person setting the world on fire. They are the people that I think about the most when I think about every child and work that we're doing here. You've all shaped me as a person and as an educator. I'm better because of all of you, and I appreciate that. You're the best examples of goodness and fairness and kindness, and you do so much to further the work in all of your individual different ways over time. And it really shaped me as not just an educator, but I think as a person. So I had the opportunity to speak to my colleagues when this was first announced a couple of weeks ago, and mention that from my perspective, one voice does not make a choir sing. Just like one person does not make an organization successful. So again, to my colleagues here in Brighton, it happens because of all of you. And I think that most important in all of this recognition, and I truly do appreciate it, I do, I'm so touched, but it is about so many people doing this work. The greatest award in all of it is how our kids are achieving and the level that they're at this point, and the fact that there aren't gaps in between groups of kids, and they're all achieving at a very high level and all engaged in rigorous coursework that's setting them up for an enriching, engaging, and fulfilling future. That is what we're most proud of here, and thinking about how to break down the individual barriers for every individual child. They're graduating, taking more advanced coursework, and thriving in ways that we had always hoped would happen and is happening again each day and each year. So to our kids, I thank them for their work, for their effort, to our families for their work. This is a wonderful, incredible, special community to work in where families support the work and they are engaged, really, really engaged, as many of you know. And they're engaged in such positive ways, making it happen for their children, pushing us to be better all the time, but supporting the work in the district in such positive ways. Our journey has, I think, been a very beautiful one, but also a challenging one in terms of confronting inequities and recognizing that it's not okay for success to be had just by some, but to really focus on making sure it's had for all. Relentlessly pursuing equity. The people in this room have had incredibly courageous and powerful conversations to make things better for each child. So I'll just wrap up in saying that Aaron Judge is a great success at the plate, and nobody really ever talks about the bat that he uses. Yo-Yo Ma, they don't talk about the cello that he plays, or Yitzhak Perlman in the violin. And in a very similar way, I feel like I'm simply an instrument of the great work that so many people here are doing, which makes it difficult to talk about individually when it's the collective that's making an impact for kids. That said, I do appreciate it deeply. I thank my colleagues again for this incredible act of kindness. I'm honored to represent the state and people that I hold of the highest esteem in the organizations that they lead from tip to tip in this state. And for, frankly, the impact that they make, but inspiring me to be better, which, frankly, as I look out at a lot of faces, is the case for just about every one of you in my life, and I appreciate that. Our kids are better for it, and that matters to me more than anything. So thanks, everybody. Appreciate it.
I will mention that Senator Cooney was unable to attend today's event, but we do have Kiana Dixon on behalf of his office, who has a proclamation for Dr. McGowan. Thank you, Kiana. I'll quickly read. Kevin, I'll ask you to face so Dan can get a picture, please. I'll read. Senator Cooney is very sorry that he could not be here today to award you this proclamation himself. Kevin, on behalf of Senator Cooney, he is justly proud to honor Dr. Kevin McGowan for his recognition as New York State Superintendent of the Year by NSCIS. Dr. McGowan has been superintendent since 2009. He began his career as an elementary school teacher, some of the things that I read before. Senator Jeremy Cooney honors Dr. Kevin McGowan for his recognition of Superintendent of the Year, and the proclamation is now transmitted to Dr. Kevin McGowan.
Hey.
Public education is work. Heard that a lot. Kevin said it, I think, 7 times. I was counting as he was making his comments. Because it's work. It's joyous and difficult all the time. And you hope that the joyous moments get you through the difficult moments. And that's what kids do. They give you joy and difficulty. And we are grateful to have Dr. McGowan as our superintendent. And you hear this phrase a lot, which is shadow of a leader. What's the shadow that your leader casts? And it's fun to be in the shadow of Dr. McGowan. He always likes to recognize the team. He hates to recognize himself. That's why, for us, this was joyous to see Dr. McGowan be a little bit uncomfortable to get the recognition he so richly deserves. We salute you. We are grateful for your work, because that's what it is. And one more time, round of applause. Thank you very much. Dan Goldman, who is our excellent communications person, said I have to read this now, which is, does anybody have any questions? If not, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.
This has been a special presentation from the Brighton Central School District.